G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and welcome to actually a quite important video in my Gran Turismo 7 career. This is my first sport mode video, so we're going to jump straight into Daily Race B for this week, which was at Deep Forest Raceway, one of the returning circuits into Gran Turismo 7. It's had a bit of a makeover since we've last seen it in one of the older Gran Turismo games, but my first impressions, it's a very good circuit. We're driving some road cars here. The regulations were anything below 295 horsepower, so that's what we've gone for on the sports hard tyres. We are using the R32 Nissan GTR, and you can see we get a very good launch using all the four-wheel drive prowess that this particular Nissan GTR has as we get an underlap on the exit of turn 1 up against the GR Yaris, driven by Wilco. Head around the outside of turn 3 here, absolutely beautiful, and you can start to see some of the middle section of this circuit there as Oot makes a little bit of a hash of turn 5. He doesn't quite get the best of runs down into the middle section. We're up behind this Mitsubishi GTO here. We're going to be looking to try and get past at some point. Generally the straights here at this track are probably your best bet to get a move done because you can slipstream down past them, and all this sort of middle section here is all quite narrow and twisty. But anyway, we're coming up to one of the said straights at the moment. Let's see if we can get a good slingshot down onto the straight. I think we've run it slightly deep, but we get a much better run than Habib does in his Mitsubishi as we race up the hill, up into the tunnel there. We get clean past him, so we obviously have a little bit of a better straight line speed in this Nissan GTR than he does in his Mitsubishi. Up behind the other Nissan, I don't think it's the R32, it might be the R33 there, but jumping onto the brakes for the very tight hairpin here. The car just completely understeered, so we're going to see some problems. I mean, look at that, I'm full left lock, and I can't even make the corner. I hardly made the corner, and Oot just gets a much better run out of that corner there, so I'm starting... That was the first sign of today's troubles, because this is going to be a very trouble-filled video. A little bit of oversteer heading through this really fast final turn. Back onto the home straight. I think we're just about in the slipstream of Oot. Coming into turn 1 this time. Let's see if we can actually make up any ground, because we're still 6 tenths behind. So I don't think the slipstream in this game is quite as strong as it was in GT Sport, which has its pros, has its cons, but I think it's a bit of a better situation in Gran Turismo 7 than it is in Sport, because the slipstream was just way too OP in GT Sport. But let's have a look. We've got a much better sort of entry to this twisty section here, heading up towards turn 5. Oot's done a little bit of a better job than last time, but not quite as good as we have, because we've gained some ground heading up into this section now. We're 4 tenths behind him. Just make sure we get a decent exit here. Quite a late apex for this turn 6 here, because you don't want to be too narrow for this turn 7 like we were there, unfortunately. Turn 8's a bit of a nothing. Turn 9 is this long downhill corner where the car just wants to oversteer on the exit there, and then we jump on the brakes. Heading up through turn 10. Going to exit out onto the back straight here. Oot runs it very wide, so he doesn't get a very good exit there. And actually, yeah, he's gaining we're gaining a matter of 2 tenths at every single update of that gap there. We've got the slipstream as well, so Oot's not really going to be able to do much to defend from me except go to the inside. Actually, he's got to serve a penalty. I didn't even notice that until just about now. It was an R34 Nissan and not an R33. My bad. But coming down into the hairpin now, look at this. I was on full left lock. Did you see that? The little red dot there got stuck halfway. Oot comes through because I'm sort of stuck on the outside, not really able to do anything. I've got some jamming steering action going on, and I was like, oh man, what's this? What's this all about? And we'll investigate that shortly, but we'll just get through this race at the moment. I think we started in 11th or something, or 12th, or something like that. We started near the back. It might have been 13th, actually. So we're up in 5th at the moment, so it actually hasn't even been that bad of a race, except for the steering locking issue we just had then. Hopefully that little problem doesn't replicate itself, obviously. But Oot's back past now, so we're going to be trying to get a repeat of what we did on the last lap. Once again, just trying to work our way up to the back of him through this twisty section, because it's quite a narrow section of circuit too, so it's really a non-overtaking part of the circuit. So once we exit that middle section there, out onto the back straight, this is where all your overtaking begins, because you can overtake into the upcoming turn at turn 11, and then you can snake down the big long main straight up towards turn 1, and that's a very good slipstreaming opportunity. So once again, up the inside of Oot. He doesn't defend this one. I don't think he defended the last one, he just went to serve the penalty last time. But anyway, he doesn't defend it anyway. Going to head in towards turn 11. Let's see if we can get it stopped and get it turned as we turn in. Once again, the car's just not turning, and look at that, the car just sails wide. We're going 30 k's an hour and we cannot make that rotation like everybody else can. I really don't know what's going on at this point. I'm just confused because look at that, Oots gained like a second there just from me just from my car not being able to make that turn. So I have no clue what's going on here, but obviously it's very, very frustrating. And in fact, what that's done now is put Habim into the slipstream. Coming on to the last lap, if Habim can get his act together through this middle section, he may be able to slipstream back past me down the back straight, so we're going to have to watch out for that one as the car just gets a little unsettled on that slippery part of the inside of the turn. Habim gets a really poor exit out of turn 1, so that releases quite a lot of pressure from behind. He drops back to nearly 1.9 seconds behind me now, so we can once again go eyes forward and see if we can catch Oot and just hope the car is able to turn at the final hairpin. We get a much better run through there. Oot doesn't quite get that line correct there, and we're gaining through this long turn 6 here as we head out onto this flat out section. Let's try and keep the accelerator flat through this section until we hit the brakes to head down this dip here, and we're right up to the back of Oot again. We've run a little bit wide there, but Oot's broke very late there, and we get a much better defined apex there. He's run it wide as well. We try to give him space on the outside. The car ends up oversteering, and we just lose control for a tiny second there. But it's all good. We get this position done, but it's probably not quite the best time to get the move done, to be honest, because up towards this straight, Oot's just going to have slipstream, although he's still not quite gaining just yet. We must have better straight line speed, but as we head onto the brakes for turn 11, Oot sends it straight down the inside, overcooks it slightly, and he can't get his car turned, but our car turns beautifully. Apollo's binned it on the last turn and decides to actually quit the race instead of waiting the 20 extra seconds it would take for him to win that, for him to actually finish the race. So he's going to end up tanking his ratings a lot more, which have carried over. DR and SR have carried over from GT Sport. However, it's not quite as a prominent feature here, so you don't even get to see the ratings of the other drivers at the end of the race. But we finished in third for that one, up 11 spots, and we get a clean race somehow. We definitely had little bits of contact here and there. I think we even hit the barrier on one of them. But anyway, we have to move on because I want to investigate this jamming steering issue which plagued my last race. It was really not good. So you can see I take it quite careful here. The car turns fine that time. I was able to take that apex at 48 kilometers an hour. We're going to fast forward through this part of the lap here. So we head towards turn 2 and 3. Turn 3, we just run too wide out onto the grass and hit the barrier. So we immediately retry that one. We still haven't set a time at this point, so we're kind of looking to also set a bit of a qualifying time here. But let's have a look. Let's have a look at the steering here. Look at that. It's jammed at only half lock. And look at that. Bang, just straight to the barrier, 1.5 seconds. So I try to back out of it here. I've no idea what's going on with the steering, because look at that, it locked the other way as well. So there's something going on. I can tell you I was on full lock on my wheel, just trying to get the wheels, the front wheels of the car, just to bloody turn. Oh, here we go, it's released up now and I'm able to turn. It got jammed a tiny bit there as well, but it ended up getting past. So I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on at this stage here. We get through the hairpin, we restart that because we had a 1.5 second penalty. I didn't want to have to carry that into my qualifying lap, so let's see if we can get through here. It got jammed for a second, but it manages to complete rotation and we get that corner done. So that's fine that time, we got through that one. Let's fast forward through this lap and see what it'll be. Down the back straight, up towards the problematic hairpin once again. Oh no, it's done it again! I'm stuck at 50% lock. I can't turn. I cannot get enough lock on the car to get it around the corner with this problem I'm having at the moment. Oh, there we go. It's snapped full left there and we get plenty of rotation. So I was a little bit, I wasn't quite sure what was going on there. So I figure it's going to be a setup issue of the car because I know my wheel is fine. So I head into the settings, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise up the front ride height a few clicks there, up to 88mm from 85. Shout out to Digit, by the way, Digit Gaming on YouTube for the tune. We're going to have to make slight adjustments to it because I'm having trouble with trying to turn the car here. So we've raised this front ride height a little bit because I think what's happening is the front wheels are actually impacting on the body of the car. We go through there We get through there twice in a row without any locking issues, so at this stage it's looking like that problem is solved just by a slight raise of the front ride height. We managed to finally set ourselves a qualifying time, a 1:40.1, which is a good few seconds off the pace so far. But that's going to be it for this. Let's have a look. I wanted to show you how quick the matchmaking is now. So that time is down at 0, and we're immediately heading into the lobby. This is real time. This is how long it takes to load a daily race lobby here. Look at that. Bang, we're in. Within a matter of seconds, we are in the lobby. How good is that? That's a massive upgrade from GT Sport, where we had to upgrade... we had to wait. Sorry, not upgrade. We had to wait ages for the lobby to load in. We get blindsided by McEwen. He's in the lobby, and tuning sucks. That is all. Anyway, we're gonna head into the race now. We've got a slightly elevated front ride height. Oh, look at that! John gets no launch off the front there, and it's all manner of chaos off the start of the race there. Luckily, we were able to avoid that, and we're up in the top 3 now with myself and McEwen and Daddy in between. That's a bit how you're going, that name there. Daddy sends it very wide at turn 1, so I'm able to get straight up the inside here. Absolutely beautiful. It's now just going to be a straight duel between myself and McEwen, provided that I don't make any glaring errors. In fact, I think McEwen is probably going to have to make a couple of errors for me to even be actually in contention with him for this first position in the race here. But we get a decent opening section of the race there. The gap behind has opened up to about 9/10, almost a second now. Heading through this turn, let's try and commit to the power. Oh no, the car doesn't want to do it. Let's oversteer into the barrier and get ourselves a penalty. Oh. They're back. They're back. Oh, we missed you. So we're gonna have to serve that penalty there. On halfway down the back straight, the longest straight on the circuit. Thankfully, that penalty gate is coming up towards the end of the lap, the end of the straight, and not at the start. Oh no, the steering's locked again. Someone's turned into us because we couldn't make the corner there. So sorry to whoever that was. But yeah, my raised ride height has not solved the issue. So I still don't know how I can solve this issue now. So we're going to have to go through this race trying to just... Oh, the yellow flag's out. Wonder what's going on as we head over the rise. I think actually it's just someone stopped from the start who's forgotten to go. It's John actually. So that was a car we nearly ran into the back of. Down the inside of I'm Faster at turn 1. Let's get the car rotated. Oh no, there's someone on my inside. There's someone who's just levering me off the apex there. Leaves me no room on the exit. It looks like a Porsche at this particular stage. We're on the outside of turn 2, but gives us the inside for the much more important turn 3. You're not hanging it around the outside of that corner as there's a crest on the exit that'll just send you wide if you're not right on the apex of turn 3. But we managed to actually get back up into third, up behind GTR Joe driving his Mitsubishi GTO twin turbo. We get a much better launch out of turn 10 there, up the back straight now. We get clean past him. We're back into second, but only on the end of the second lap. We're 10 seconds behind McEwen, and I can tell you what isn't helping is this locking steering issue that's just going to send me wide. It's going to send me into the barrier. I'm going to get overtaken by about 4 cars on that one corner just because my car will not turn no matter what I do to it. So I have no clue what's going on. Craig Lowndes just completely sends it in too deep. No wonder he's been booted off Red Bull. No wonder he's been demoted from the drivers into the commentator box. But up into the hairpin again. Let's see if we have our issue. Oh yeah, we do have our issue. We're going to send it wide. And yeah, we're going to hit that barrier, unfortunately. Do we lose any more positions? No, but all we do lose is about 2 seconds to the guys ahead. Oh, we got a penalty for that. How do I get a penalty if I hit the barrier and lose 2 seconds? Craig Lowndes has a much bigger penalty, so I actually get past him there. And this is the hairpin. Look at that. I cannot make the corner. I'm going 30 k's an hour, and I'm going out onto the outside of the track. I don't know what's going on. Oh, we nearly lose the car. Oh, we do lose the car heading through the high-speed turn 13. Too much steering lock as we headed through there, obviously. So that's a quite a large issue. We get a 3-second penalty for that. And I think we end up finishing in 8th because we have an added 3-second penalty. McEwen grabs that race win by 23 seconds in a 6-minute race. So I complained about the locking steering. JOI! What? McEwen, that is sus as anything, mate. What are you telling me that for? Oh, that is just so... Oh, join party. Oh, dear. Okay, now I'm on board. I joined the party. McEwen told me that this locking steering was in fact the wheels impacting the body of the car, which is for some reason a new added physic in this game. Is that the right way of saying it? An added physic? An added component of the new Gran Turismo 7 physics. The way we solve that is to add a wide body, which stretches out the fenders and gives the front wheels a little bit more room to turn. Hopefully that solves my issues there, so beautiful. I've got the wide body on the car now. Hopefully we should have no more steering locking, and let's have a little test of this right now. Heading straight into the hairpin for the first time, the problem corner. Full left lock, and we made the corner beautifully. We're going to have a few more tests at this, because if you remember, we raised the front ride height by a few clicks, and that seemed to solve it in the practice, but then in the race it was no good. Car's still a little bit sketchy through there, which worried me. And then on this occasion we braked in the same spot we were in the last race. We ended up going deep into the corner. We still made the corner, plenty of lock on the car. So I think in fact that, and then through this high speed turn 13 we completely bin it there. So it seems to have solved the locking steering, but the car doesn't feel as planted. So all I'm thinking at this stage is, the wide body must impact the performance of the car a little bit. It must make it a little bit more boaty, because I guess it's, I don't know, wider. Heavier, I don't know, I don't really know, but I just thought the wide body has affected the way the car handles. So that's fine, we'll just have to deal with that through this race here. We get a good launch once again. McEwen sends it very wide there. We're going to have to watch out for a penalty, see if he gets a penalty for running wide off the track. But we're a lot closer this time, and if we can remain this close heading out onto the back straight, that will be pretty good. He makes another mistake here, look at that, just gets a little bit too wide, heading around turn 7, but it sort of is okay, because it gives him an okay line down this downhill left-hander up towards the final turn before the back straight. He doesn't quite meet that apex like we do there. He runs a little bit wide once again. Let's see if he gets a penalty for that one, because he got away with running a little bit wide from turn 1. No penalty for this. But coming up towards our problem corner, do we make the turn? Because we made it in practice when we raised the front ride height, but not in the race. We make it in the race. And we only lose a couple of tenths to McEwen there, and that's pretty standard. Oh my goodness, that's a large brown flag moment heading through there. But that was that race. McEwen drove away, I drove away from the guys behind, and we finish in second with a 7-second gap, front and behind. There's really nothing too much to report of in terms of action in that particular race there. Oh, actually we do see the ratings. It's right next to the name. I'm so used to the ratings being on the complete right-hand side of the table. But my car's handling wasn't correct. So I go back into customized cars in GT Auto, which is where we added the aero parts onto the car. Turns out fitting the wide body removes all of the aero parts. So the front splitter, I guess, the side skirts and the rear diffuser, all gone. The wing, the custom wing set still has a tick on it, so I'm like, all good, that's all I need to worry about there. So now we're going to go into the settings here, once again, shout out to Digit, and I immediately discover that I cannot actually adjust that rear aerodynamic level to the same level that Digit had on his tune. Digit required a front aerodynamic level of 125 and a rear level of 145, but my rear maximum is only 120. So I must have the wrong, I must have the incorrect rear wing on. And look how many menus I have to go back. I have to go out of sport mode, back into GT Auto, custom parts, wing. I have to actually install the custom wing set on the back. So it had a tick on it, which I thought was all good, but it turns out that tick must just mean you've purchased it. You've got to install it on the car. And I'm going to go back to sport mode, back into the Deep Forest Race B, and I've got to go back to the tuning sheet. Once we enter the combination here we go, back into the tuning sheet. Eventually I'll get there. A lot of menus here, and this is something I noticed when I was doing all this tuning stuff here. I was like, oh man, there's just so many menus you have to go through, because you have to go into the tuning sheet. If something's wrong, you have to go into GT Auto or the tuning shop to buy the parts, and it's quite a big runaround. And this is really the biggest thing I'm taking away from sport mode today. My first sport mode video, I'm not enjoying the tuning part of it, because I jumped in GT Sport. You could jump in, just have a look at this, by the way, look at that, absolutely no worries heading through that high speed turn now that we've got the wide body and all the aero kit on the car. But in GT Sport, you just literally entered the race, picked a car, and the game had balance of performance. Everyone was in the same machine, and then you could jump in, have an excellent race straight out the door. But in this particular game, at the moment, you have to tune the car, but you got to make sure you have the correct tuning parts in the car. You have to make sure you've got the correct tyres, and all the upgrades. They're so expensive, and the thing is, to actually upgrade a car, you have to buy the part to upgrade. So the car comes stock, but then if you want to upgrade the transmission or something, you got to go to the tuning shop and spend 20k on an adjustable manual transmission. You've also got to add the turbocharger to the car. You got to buy the tyres. You got to buy like racing slicks if you want to use those. This particular race didn't allow the racing slicks, so we're just using the sports hard. But you sort of see where I'm going, and then you got to go into GT Auto because the tuning shop only has the tuning parts for the engine and the drivetrain of the car. The actual aero parts are in a different section, GT Auto, so you got to add a rear wing, side skirts, front splitter, rear diffuser to get the car to stick to the road. It's a big runaround, and going like in and out of menus, you can't buy something in the tuning shop and then immediately tune it. You've got to exit the tuning shop, go to a race, or go to the settings sheet of the car. Same goes for GT Auto. You can't adjust the aero in GT Auto. You got to go back to the tuning sheet. It's a big runaround, and it just takes so long to finally get some form of competitiveness into a daily race. We finally did that, setting a relatively okay qualifying time of a 1:39.4 once we finally got the correct tune on the car. It's taken so long. It's just pain. It's so painful. And the thing that also gets me is that you could tune the car in such a way that the front wheels impact the body and you can't even turn. So not only do you have to worry about how to tune properly, if you get it wrong, you can't drive the car. What's the go there? So sport mode so far is the biggest disappointment in Gran Turismo 7, and I think that's going to be the case unless we see some form of balancing the cars, because running through all the menus and tuning process is just so painful. But anyway, we finally got a decent tune on the car. We're finally into a daily race B. It's taken 21 minutes into this video today to actually just outline everything I had to do to get a competitive race in. It just really highlights that this is quite problematic at the moment, and I don't really think too highly of it. But anyway, let's get into this race action. We have John in his Audi, who's actually remembered to pick up the controller and start the race on this one. He hasn't entered the race and then gone to the toilet or something and got caught up in there for some reason. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up at this point. McEwen started off pole in a completely different car, the Peugeot L500R, I believe, a hybrid road car. So it's not so great through the corners, but look what happens as he heads down the straight here. He's just catching so fast. That closing speed is insane. He has to jump on the brakes pretty early, but he gained like 2 seconds down that straight from having that hybrid. So this is quite an interesting little prospect in this race. I mean, look at it. Looks like a UFO. It's so low and weird looking. A weird Peugeot hybrid VGT. I don't know. But McEwen's actually, he's going to do his best in that car. Obviously, he's not going to have the handling, but he will have the absolute best straight line speed. He sends it straight down the inside of John, driving his Audi R8, and John's just sort of pushing him wide of the apex there. McEwen's probably sitting here wondering at the moment, he probably doesn't really care because he knows he could gain like 2 seconds down each of the straights. So it's all good. McEwen's back in front. John gets this corner a little bit better than he did on the last lap if you were watching his car. But what's going to happen here is, because McEwen's not very fast through all the corners in that Peugeot, he's going to hold up John. They're going to back themselves up closer to me. That'll give me a better chance at trying to get past John. But what's also going to happen for McEwen is, because you can't overtake through that middle twisty section because it's so narrow. John actually finds a little bit of a hole in McEwen's defence there. I follow John through. McEwen still probably doesn't care at this particular stage because he's only probably 6/10 off the lead of the race there. Have a look at this. He sends it down the main straight, or the back straight. See you later, McEwen. Yeah, nice knowing you, mate. Oh, that hybrid. So obviously McEwen's found the meta car. He's found the true meta. We initially thought it was the R32 Nissan, but it turns out it's actually the Peugeot because of its superior straight line speed. He's got to find a better braking point for that last hairpin though, evidently. But there's still no worries for McEwen because he's going to get past John once again, heading down this straight. He's going to be able to hold everyone up through the corners again, which he's doing here, which, as I was saying before, will give me a chance at trying to get past John, and will also help McEwen keep the lead as we head out onto the main straight. He runs it wide through turn 9 once again. John sends it up the inside of turn 10. He's a little bit too narrow though and doesn't get the best of apexes. McEwen runs it quite wide there, but he's going to have superior acceleration. He's going to get past the pair of us there. The gap I was going to go into closes as the track just sort of curves over to the right and back to the left, just snaking down this back straight here. I'm still looking to get past John really, because that's where my race is. I don't think I'm going to be able to beat McEwen, because as long as he can hold us up through the corners, he's just going to drive away on the straights. Oh, John sends it quite wide there actually. We're side by side on the exit of turn 11 and heading down the main straight now. We're still going to go through turn 12 and turn 13, but they're easy flat in this particular category of racing, and McEwen's just driving away at this point. He's got a 1.3 second gap up ahead of me. John has an opportunity here to slipstream and try and get down the inside at turn 1, and he's looking to the inside. We're not defending this one because I still think I can slipstream down the back straight if he does get past. He gets a much earlier apex for turn 1. I try to get a better later apex there, but it's still not quite going to work. I get the better exit actually, but because this track starts to enter this narrow twisty section, I've got nowhere to go, so I just have to run into the back of John, hope that he either makes a mistake or hope that I can remain close enough to slipstream down past him down the back straight. So heading through this middle section for the last time, we're on the penultimate lap. We're catching up to McEwen as he struggles through this middle sector. He's given himself plenty of breathing room by getting a much better run down the straights here with the hybrid of his Peugeot. But it's still not going to be enough. I think McEwen's going to get this victory. John makes the mistake that McEwen's been making, running a little bit too wide through turn 9. I managed to get up the inside at turn 10. John turns in on me a little bit. I was well on the inside there, unfortunately, and John just bounces off me into the outside barrier. I was well up the inside when the contact happened, so I'm not really going to take responsibility for that one. But John has an opportunity. He has two opportunities actually to slipstream down past me as we head up towards the last hairpin of the lap. I think all my locking issues are gone, thank goodness, so the wide body has solved that one, and we managed to actually get in a much better race this time, trying to get an apex for the last hairpin there. John has a little bit of a look on the exit there. He's actually gained time through that last hairpin there. He's got one last opportunity to try and get some slipstream, but I've got just too good of a straight line speed driving my Nissan GTR up through the final turn of turn 13. No drama to report of now that we've got the correct aero on the car. By the end of the straight, John is gaining a little bit, but the finish line comes up soon enough such that we can finish in second position, only 2.6 off the back of McEwen this time. A little bit better than my 10 seconds we had, or what was it, 7 seconds in the race before we fixed all the tuning on the car. And finally, after 27 minutes worth of video and about an hour and a half of mucking around trying to work out all the tuning on this car, we finally get a decent race and bring home second spot. But look at that. So, first impressions of sport mode. Unfortunately, I don't have too many good things to say. The daily races are the same. I would have liked to see another longer daily race. We've only got 2 so far. They've confirmed a daily race C is on the way, but only from the 14th, which is still about a week away. The tuning I find to just be absolutely painful, because you can't just jump in and race anymore. If you just jump in with any car, you're going to be 40-50 seconds off the pace in an 8-minute race. So you really need to spend some time on a tune, and even so, I copied someone's tune, Digit Gaming, and I found that my car's performance figures were different. So it's not even consistent, and not only is it not consistent, you have to make sure you have to buy the correct parts. You've got to buy the parts and then put the tune on the car. And buying all those parts adds up. The main things you've got to add is a turbo, which is about 20k. You've got to add 4 stages of weight reduction, which adds up to about 25k. You've got to add the adjustable transmission, which I think is another 20k. It quite quickly adds up. The wide body was 50k, and then all the aero parts are about 7, 8, 9, 10k each. It really adds up, and the daily racing is looking to be a very painful and a very expensive affair. And unfortunately at the moment, unless we see some sort of balance of performance added, I struggle to see myself actually doing these daily races on a regular basis. So we're going to have to work out how we can get around this problem, whether we can actually find ourselves a reliable source of tunes that's not going to give us a big run around like we experienced today. But yeah, I guess only time will tell. It's a brand new game, and the single player is very good. It's just sport mode needs a bit of work. But that's my thoughts on it, and that's going to finish up this video today, so do hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos and streams from me. Do leave a comment as well. Questions, comments, and constructive criticism, as always, very much appreciated. But that's going to be the end of this one today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.